Good evening, present tense. Happy Thursday evening. I hope everybody is feeling well and doing well, both physically and mentally. I am copying on here tonight. We're going to talk about some really kind of cool mental health trick stuff. Okay. So right now there's been this big focus on mental health and on how everybody's feeling. Have you noticed that? A lot of the conversations you're having are not so much, oh, what are you up to? What's new? All this. It's more like, how are you feeling? What are your struggles? What are you doing to cope with them? And everybody's kind of sharing what they're doing to cope, right? Like, oh, my gym classes went online and we're using Zoom, you should try it. We're all sharing ways that we can help one another. So I want to talk tonight about learning to take care of yourself on all levels, because there is this awesome opportunity we have to learn how to be okay in our minds right now. Because if we can do that now, once we get out of this, just think how we're just going to skyrocket and just take off like rockets with everything in our lives if we can get this under wraps right now. So I want to give you something that you can use that, despite all the fear or the stress, the uncertainty that's going on in your life, and even maybe if you're dealing with things, I tend to forget about the people who, just that they have situations in their life that were maybe going on even before quarantine started. Like maybe someone was starting to go through a breakup or a divorce. Maybe someone was just starting a custody battle. Maybe someone's child was supposed to get, in some sort of evaluation done, right? Maybe somebody's child was just starting to work with a teacher at school that was really helping them and they were blossoming, and now all that has ended. So I want to, bring us into this space where we can talk about taking care of ourselves despite everything that's going on in our heads, either right now or things that started before quarantine. So if you think about this, learning to take care of yourself on all levels is something that hopefully was given to you as a child, and it might not have been. Some of us were not taken care of as children. Some of us were neglected. Some of us were, abused. It's very sad to think about, but it's true. Despite however your childhood was, I'm going to give you some things today that you can do right now that will work for you. Okay, no matter what kind of parenting you were used to growing up and what kind of care you were given, I'm going to teach you how to parent yourself in a really positive way. So I talk a lot about action, right? Because I do know that starting with something positive, like making your bed in the morning, working out, stuff like that, is going to spiral into more productive and activity that's going to release endorphins and make you feel better about yourself and your day and make you show up as a better human in your life for other people, and for yourself. Now, there's another part to it though, and that has to do with training the mind. On top of taking action to train the mind, we have to also learn how to use the mind to train the mind. So the goal is to learn how to stop this cycle of negative thoughts. This is something I learned in my early 20s, around the age of 23, 24. I was suffering with, diagnosed with major depression and a type of anxiety disorder. As a result, I went and saw a therapist, and there was one thing that this particular therapist taught me, the only thing that I really got out of this, to be honest. He wasn't a match for me, but one thing he taught me that really helped me overcome and take more control of my mind, and that was stopping the cycle of negative thoughts. And I remember he used to take his finger and do this. This is still what I picture in my head, a cycle. And when I stop the cycle, I actually picture like a slash through the circle, okay? I still use that today. So stopping the cycle of negative thoughts, there are things you can do. One I just told you is visual. Here goes the cycle. We have this intrusive thought. It starts getting worse and worse, and we're going down the rabbit hole, and then boom, cut it off. You can actually picture that imagery, okay? Imagery is really powerful. I know it sounds hokey, but it works, for real. It works. There's other things you can do to stop the cycle that involve your physical body. This is why working out is so awesome for your body or for your mind, You can tap your feet. You can start messing around with your fingers, wiggle your toes, rub your hands together, do some patting, things like this. This is all sensory stuff that helps you to kind of wake up, get control of the mind, stop the negative cycle. There are breathing exercises that you can do. There's one that I used a lot when I was coaching singers. And if you're in the middle of a negative cycle, you can start doing deep breathing exercises. And one of the ones that I really like is breathing in through the nose. Start at like 3 seconds. Hold it for 3 seconds, breathe out. Breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out. Go up as high as you can comfortably go, and then reverse it and go back down. By the time you're done with that, you're going to have stopped that cycle, and you're going to be much more calm because your brain's getting the needed oxygen. Another thing, those of you in a relationship may not be struggling with this. If you're in a toxic relationship, or if you're single, you probably are. Especially if you are completely alone, you don't have kids or whatever. But we need physical touch. Physical touch. One of the things that I always made sure I was able to afford was to get a massage once a month. And I can't do that right now. So I would recommend that if you don't have anyone to be able to give a hug to be able to have rub your back or something like that, that would be relaxing to you, to use a chair massager if you have one, a foot massager. I have this like acupuncture mat that I can lay on. It sounds weird, but it really helps, and you can get them pretty cheap. Same with all these massagers. Get something like that, because physical touch in the midst of a cycle, a negativity cycle, is really powerful to snap you out of it. Okay. What else? Repeating a mantra. This one can be a little tricky because it needs to be special to you. It needs to be something that calms you down. So you might need to play around with this a little bit. But if you're starting to go into that cycle and that rabbit hole of negativity and fear, one thing you can do is repeat something over and over in your head. I know that I have a family member who uses the Serenity Prayer for this. Another thing you can do is just a very simple, I am okay, I am okay, I am okay. I'm going to get through this, I am okay. I'm alive, I'm breathing well, just something you can say over and over again. And the trick with this is that it forces the logical mind to take over. Because one thing you probably know but don't realize in the moment when you're feeling stressed is not all thoughts are real. Not all thoughts that go through your head are real. So having your logical mind take over by repeating some sort of mantra can be very helpful to interrupt that cycle of negative thoughts, fears, and also remind your body and parent yourself into realizing not everything that you're thinking is real and is going to happen. Okay. That's another really powerful one. It gives you the power to choose your thoughts. That is where it lies, you guys. We have a choice over our thoughts. We do. Because often what gets us riled up, palms sweating, heart racing, angry, it's that cycle of negative thoughts. They reinforce each other, and it just goes and goes and goes until boom, you've gotten all, and then you're in the full-blown panic attack, or you're in a full-blown rage, or whatever it is. If you can stop that and interrupt it, it won't happen, and you're going to feel better. Another thing, last one, is noise. If you are a sensitive person, okay, maybe if you're really empathetic or you're just sensitive, some of us are sensitive to noise. Maybe if you've got, an underlying condition or some sort of issue that makes you sensitive to noise, noise can be a really big trigger. So limiting the amount of noise. Okay, I know those of you with kids are like, really? No, I'm telling you right now, I've done it. I've done it with my kids. There are times that if my kids are getting too loud and I am at my brink, I say, everybody needs to be quiet. Now, my kids have understood and learned that I'm a person, and they listen to that. They actually do. They actually understand it. But sometimes they don't always listen. They don't quite get it. So I will actually level with my children, because you guys, we can tell kids and teach them that we're human beings and that we have our own issues without harming them. There's a way you can say, right now, mom feels this way. Have you ever felt this way? Or dad feels this way. Have you ever felt this way? Here's what I need right now in order to feel better. Be honest with them. They'll understand it, and you're not going to scar them by telling them, by cluing them into the fact that you're a real person who has struggles and needs something. They know how that feels, you guys. It's amazing. It's amazing what children can learn, and it doesn't hurt them. If your kids are really, really little and you need to put them on the TV or the iPad because you are just about to go nuts, do it. Just do it. Because in the long run, the most important thing in the moment is that you're feeling okay. Okay? That's the most important thing. So, the last thing, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself what you need today in order to feel like your best self. And then do it. Even if you don't feel like it. Okay? Even if you don't feel like it, do it. Do that thing you need to feel like your best self. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if you feel like, ugh, can't do that today. Just do it. Because then you're going to feel better. That's going to solve the problem. Okay? Last thing, I want to explain, I don't know how many people are doing the 14-day challenge, but there is one of the challenges on there is getting 7 hours of sleep, and that's how you're getting a point. I don't want that to discourage anybody. I can tell you I suffer from insomnia. It usually comes around once every 1 or 2 weeks. So when I say one of the points you can get is getting 7 hours of sleep, at least 7 hours, don't worry about that. Really, if you just lay down and try to sleep for 7 hours, that counts. All right? Because that's not really I should have explained that when I put that challenge out. That's not really a fair one, because some of us sleep better than others. That's not always a choice. That's the one item on there that isn't a choice, right? The rest are choices. So let me just be clear, and I'll make a post of that in the group as well, that as long as you are laying down and attempting to sleep for 7 hours every night, then you get a point, okay? I hope that makes sense. Guys, I hope this helps. I am hopping on here again tomorrow and Saturday. Okay. And we're going to have more topics. And go run with that challenge, you guys. It's going to be great. I would love to be able to give 3 people a free 30-minute coaching session. Just, me and you. I mean, that would just be awesome. So run with the challenge. It's going to be good for you. You're going to feel better. There's really no reason not to do it. And you get something that would otherwise cost a lot of money for free. Let's do it. Let's do it, you guys. You got this. I will talk to you soon. Present tense. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And as always, reach out if you need anything. All right? Good night. Mwah.